Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, Gardening in Cold Spring Harbor. I'm in Long Island, New York, Zone 7A. I'm actually standing in my rose garden, deadheading my rose shrubs as well as my climbing roses. And as you could see, I have quite a few roses to deadhead. But before I go any further, I guess I should explain what deadheading is and what it is used for. I will also show you today and give you step-by-step instructions on how to deadhead various varieties of roses, including shrubs as well as climbing roses. So stick around with me today, guys. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, show me that support by clicking thumbs up below. Leave your comments below. I love communicating with you, my fellow gardeners. And if you haven't yet done so, do so today, guys. Subscribe to my channel, Gardening in Cold Spring Harbor. Now let's get started. Let's talk all about why all of us should do something as simple as deadheading our roses and what in return will it give us. So I'm sure many of you have heard the term deadheading. So deadheading is one of pruning techniques, which is very easy to do and not very heavy on your plants. Deadheading is not a hard prune, meaning your rose will not need much time to recover from deadheading at all. One of the functions when it comes to deadheading is one, to tidy up your rose so you get rid of any of the spent blooms, meaning you get rid of all the blooms that are done blooming currently, whether they have some leftover petals left or whether they have no petals left at all. And number two, you're going to encourage your rose to go back into its bloom sooner than it naturally would. So when you deadhead your rose, you ensure beautiful blooms throughout the entire season. If you look down at your spent flower, meaning the flower that's done blooming, you will see that your rose is trying to form something called a hip, which is this round thing over here. A hip is another word for a seed pod of your rose plant. And if your rose forms this seed pod or a hip, or even if it's starting to, it's going to send hormonal signals to the plant saying, send all the energy here, send all the energy here. And we do not want the plant to do that. We want the plant to send all its energy into generating new buds and new blooms for us, not forming these hips or seed pods. Once your rose plant, your rose shrub, or your climbing rose starts to send its energy, its hormonal energy into seed development, that means that your plant will not go back into its flowering stage quite soon enough or as soon as you want it to. So by simply taking off all of the spent flowers on your rose shrub, you are basically doing two things. Number one, you're making your rose bush or your rose shrub look 100 times neater. And you're giving it that speed up. You're giving that command to go back and start growing new flowering buds for you. So you could see these beautiful blooms all season long. And now, guys, I want to demonstrate to you, to show you exactly how and where to deadhead your rose shrub or your climbing rose. Today I'm going to show you both how to deadhead your rose shrub and how to deadhead your climbing rose so you have continuous blooms all summer long. First and foremost, we start with a pair of pruning shears or clippers. You want to make sure that your clippers or your pruning shears are clean because you do not want to spread any disease from your previous plants that you may have cut using these same pruning shears. So now I'm going to start with a rose shrub first. As you could see, this one is kind of overdue for deadheading, but it's okay because it's an excellent shrub to show you guys exactly what needs to get done. So now that your pruning shears are clean, the rule of thumb where to cut is very, very simple. So you go below your spent flowers, below these hips that have started to form, and you look at your rose's leaves. So the rule of thumb when deadheading your rose shrub or your climbing rose, you start off by finding your spent flowers that have started to form this hip, and you look below at their leaflets, and you have to count the leaflets. So the first set of leaves over here has 1, 2, 3 leaflets. Same on this side, 1, 2, 3. So you have to go further. You have to find the first set of 5 leaflets, guys. Not 3, not 4, 5. So you keep going further down. So next one over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So why 5? That means when you find the first set of 5 leaflets, that means you have come far down enough to your plant's vegetative state. So your rose shrub's vegetative state is usually right above your first set of 5 leaflets. And basically this is where, if you were to cut right over here, this is exactly where your rose is most likely to pick up and put up a new shoot and start flowering all over for you again. So you would cut above the 5 leaf mark, and it is also the safest spot to get the proper hormonal balance out of your rose. So again, guys, our spent flowers, which are done blooming completely, there's not a single petal left, but you would do the same thing with the spent flowers that look like this, where you could see that the petals are ready to fall off. You would also deadhead these as well. So you continue down the stem and you count off the leaves. So here are 2 sets of 3 leaves, followed by the first set that has 5 leaves. So you go about a half of an inch above this, like so, and you make your cut. So the demonstration that you guys just saw was of a cluster rose shrub. What is a cluster rose shrub? It is a rose shrub that produces multiple blooms from a single stem. You could see that this stem goes up, splits over here, and gives me 3 rose blooms on one stem. Here is another example of a cluster rose shrub when the rose buds are still closed. You could see this one's ready to open up. But again, you could see that's one single stem, which kind of forks out all the way on top. And this single stem will give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beautiful rose blooms. So this is a cluster rose shrub, and I just demonstrated how you deadhead it. Again, you go below and start counting your leaves. You cut half an inch above your first set of 5 leaves. And here's an example of a rose shrub that is not a cluster rose shrub. So for those of you who grow roses such as these, regular shrubs, no clusters, where would you cut these? You would basically essentially do exactly the same thing. You follow the rule of thumb. You follow the spent flower down the stem, and you count off the leaves. We have a single leaf, followed by 3 leaves, followed by 5 leaves, guys. You could see over here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So where would you cut this guy? You would cut him half an inch, like so, above the first 5 leaf set. So right over here. So you would be getting rid of this whole upper portion of the stem, helping your rose generate more rose buds, hence more blooms for you. Sometimes our rose shrubs help us and they show us exactly where they're going to sprout their new buds, hence the flowers. You see those little nodes, the pink, reddish pink color nodes? So you would essentially cut right above the node. You do not want to cut off those nodes because then you're cutting off new flower buds and essentially your new flower blooms. So as you could see here, if you were be cutting this, you would go all the way down. As you could see, how many leaves are on this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you see where the new node is growing, right above the first set of 5 leaves. So you would cut right over here, about half an inch above the node. Again, do not cut below because then you're cutting off your fresh new flowers. I have one last demonstration to show you when it comes to deadheading, and this time it's with my ginormous, beautiful climbing rose. As you could see, it is just huge and it is absolutely filled with flowers, with the blooms, filled to capacity. It is in my backyard on this metal trellis and it's right by my pool. So I have this metal trellis that on both sides has 2 pots, hence 2 climbing roses. But the roses got so big and lush, they covered up the whole trellis. You cannot even see the trellis anymore. Essentially, method is exactly the same. You start with your spent flower or flower that's about to lose all its petals. You go down the stem and you start counting your leaflets. 3, 3, 1, 2, 3. Moving on down, 1, 2, 3. Followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this guy doesn't even have a 5-leaf stem. It goes from 3 to 7. So where would you cut this guy? You would cut, again, about half an inch above your first set of either 5, 6, or in this case, 7 leaves. So you give it a little space and you, let me get a better angle, cut. There you go, guys. We just deadheaded a part of my climbing rose. This is it for this video, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here in Long Island, New York, Zone 7A. Today we spoke all about deadheading our rose shrubs and our climbing roses. If you guys found this video to be useful, helpful, informative, then show me that support by clicking thumbs up below. Leave your comments below. Let me know how often do you deadhead your roses. And if you haven't yet done so, do so today. Subscribe to my channel, Gardening in Cold Spring Harbor. Stay healthy, happy, and be well, guys. And I'll see you again in my new upcoming gardening videos. Bye, guys.